Hey guys, it's David from theunlocker.com. Today we're going to show you a quick phone review of the Motorola XT701. If you're not already there, head over to theunlocker.com, spell like that in the address bar, and search for our phone review of the Motorola XT701. Okay, first thing we'll do is we'll go do a quick unboxing here, show you what comes with your phone. Obviously you have the phone, then inside we have the battery, a wired headset, a charger, which is European because this is an unlocked phone. Usually these come with an adapter whenever you buy them from a store, and a USB cable, plus a getting started guide in English and a getting started guide in Chinese. Okay, quickly we're going to go over the hardware of the device. This phone is very similar to users in the United States are used to the Motorola Droid from Verizon. Just like the Droid, has a 3.7-inch capacitive touchscreen, 480 by 854 resolution. We got touch-sensitive navigation down here at the bottom for menu, home, back, and search. On the top we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, just like the Droid. Our power and also sleep button. On the back we have a 5-megapixel camera, just like the Droid. The one difference here is that this has a xenon flash as opposed to a dual LED flash. On the side we do have our micro SD slot, just like the Droid, volume rockers, camera button, and obviously we're missing the slide out QWERTY keyboard. Okay, internally we have some similarities to the Droid as well. Same processor, 600 megahertz, same amount of RAM, 256 megabytes of RAM. One difference is it has 8 gigs of internal storage, where the Droid does not. Still also has a micro SD card slot, just like the Droid. One major difference is this phone is GSM, so it takes a SIM card, unlike the Droid, which is CDMA and will only work on CDMA carriers. In the States, that means you can use this phone on AT&T and T-Mobile. It will not work on Verizon, Sprint, Metro, Alltel, etc., all the CDMA carriers. So that's a big difference. The one thing that's really cool about this phone is that even though it is for the Chinese market and it is an unlocked phone, it supports English fine, and it also has AT&T's 3G frequencies built in, which also means Rogers in Canada as well. So if you're going to use it here in the States, you can use it on T-Mobile, you can also use it on AT&T, but for 3G, you're going to have to be using AT&T. T-Mobile will only get edge speed. So if you are not someone that uses their data plan very much, you just kind of connect to Wi-Fi, then it won't be a problem on either of the carriers. But again, if you want 3G, you got to be on AT&T or in Canada, Rogers, etc. Okay, other than all that, it does have your basic features that most phones are going to have nowadays, most smartphones. GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, a digital compass built in for use on like Google Maps, and so it can know which direction you're facing, which is useful in certain Android apps. And that's about it. Now this is an Android phone, so I'm not going to go too much into using of the phone because by now you're probably familiar with it. And as with all Android phones, they're pretty much the same. Considering this is vanilla Android, it doesn't have any user interface on top of it. This phone is running Android 2.1 Update 1. It comes like that, which is basically what the Nexus 1 was running. Only difference is you don't get the Nexus 1 launcher, you have your normal application drawer. Other than that, some pre-installed applications are really the only difference between this and, say, what the Nexus 1 was running as far as software is concerned. So some of the things Motorola added were corporate calendars, corporate directories. These are basically things that sync with your Exchange Mail. Because Android 2.1 didn't have that feature built in, it has Exchange Mail working fine, but it doesn't have ways to sync with your calendar and your contacts, etc. That came in Android 2.2. So Motorola put that in here in the meantime. So you have, that's what the corporate calendar is, that's what the corporate directory is. They also put an FM radio in here. Quick Office they gave you for free, which normally costs, I think, $30, $50. I don't know if I'm right on that, but it normally costs money. They give you a SIM manager so you can transfer contacts back and forth to the SIM because Android didn't have that built in. An SD card backup program, firewall, which I'm actually not quite sure what that is. It's to block incoming calls and outgoing calls. It's interesting. Yeah, but that's about it as far as the difference between this and regular Android. Okay, as for the performance of the phone, it's actually pretty good. It's very quick transitioning between screens, using different things here. I'll just tap through a few apps so you can see how it performs when you're moving around. Right, it has its own little keyboard that they made. It's very similar to the Android keyboard. Things are a little bit bolder, and it also has Chinese handwriting recognition in there as well. And that's pretty much it. Okay, the other thing to check out is the camera. It has a 5 megapixel camera, similar to the Droid. One of the differences is that this phone actually has smile detection and face detection, whereas the Droid does not. It's not going to detect the little smile on my Android though. But we'll take a picture of them. Now you can't really tell the quality of the camera when you're looking at it through a camera. But it's as best as I can really show it to you. So there you go. Not too shabby. About the same as the Droid, to be honest. I think it's the exact same lens. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it for a quick phone review of the Motorola XT701. In conclusion, basically, if you have AT&T and you're using 3G and you want something similar to a Droid but you don't mind not having a QWERTY keyboard, this is not a bad choice at all. The other one that I would suggest that's close to this is the Nexus 1, but this is actually a little bit cheaper than the Nexus 1, so that's not too bad. Also, if you're using T-Mobile and you don't use the data plan and you just want to use Wi-Fi, again, it's not too bad of a choice considering it is a little bit cheaper than the Nexus 1 with very similar features. So there you have it.